Hopefully the internet is gonna work today. We'll see. That one's on. Okay, cool. Okay, today is yoga for anxiety. We may have some network internet issues, so if we drop, hopefully we'll be able to record it to post it later. We might use the blocks today. We're gonna start seated, so find a comfortable seat. Get nice and tall and just start to land in the room. Start to feel your shoulders softening. Feel a little taller through the crown of the head. And imagine breathing in through the crown of your head all the way down to the tailbone, and then slowly breathing out as if there was a tube right from the crown of your head down your spine and all the way back up. Imagine you're drawing in fresh, cleansing breath. And sweeping away things no longer needed with the exhale. And then begin to add a gentle pause at the end of the exhale. Just really inhaling fresh, breathing out long, slow, full, really emptying the lungs, and then giving it a gentle pause. As you're filling up your lungs, begin to really pay attention. Notice if there's any gripping around the rib cage. Notice if you seem to be filling only the chest. Notice if it's easy today to pull all the way down to the bottom of your lungs. And then we'll begin to just gently move and breathe in the same breathing patterns. Inhale, lift our arms up overhead. Exhale, sweep the arms down nice and slow as if you're pushing the air out. And then give a gentle pause. Inhale, lift, fill up the lungs. Exhale, full, slow exhale. And a gentle pause. Bring the arms down. Bring the hands to either side of the hips. And just slow, gentle rolls of the shoulders, one at a time. Starting to connect with the muscles of the shoulders. And then both shoulders forward. And then pull them up to the ears, slow, 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 and then squeeze the shoulder blades back towards each other. Squeeze and hold. And then push the shoulder blades down, trying to find the muscles in between the shoulder blades. And then go back up towards the ears, squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. And slow down. Loosen the shoulders. We'll work through the neck nice and slow. So feel nice and tall through the neck first, and then bring the chin all the way down to the chest. Feel the back of the neck. And then a really slow circle with the head. As if you're trying to feel every single angle your head can move in. When you come backwards, try not to drop onto the vertebrae, but find the muscles that hold the head. And then go back the other way. and chin back to neutral. Bring the chin all the way over to the right shoulder and stretch the eyes up to the very top right corner. So stretching the eyes, look right, leaving the eyes looking right, as far right as they can. Slowly bring the chin back to center, and this should feel strange. Your chin is not used to moving without your eyes. And when you get back to neutral, close the eyes and notice any sensations. And then take the chin all the way over to the left. Look the eyes all the way up into the left. Stretching the eyes. And then slowly bringing the chin back to neutral while leaving the eyes looking left. Notice if it's juddery. Kind of like a reset for the neural system. Bring the chin back to neutral and close the eyes. Notice any sensations. And then inhale, arms up overhead. Lower the right hand with the exhale. Little tilt over to the right. Lengthen the left side, so keeping both hips pressed down. Lengthen left side rib cage. Watching for tight shoulders. You can bend the arm. You don't need to reach the arm and stretch into the shoulder. Open up the rib cage. Breathe in to that left side open. You can bring your fingertips down to your oblique here to help remind you which muscle you are going to use on the left side. So find this space between the rib cage and the hip. Think about this space. And then we're just going to bring the left shoulder towards the right knee and back. Nice and slow. See if you can find and manipulate that muscle. If you're crunching too much over into the right, you won't be able to move and find this muscle. Small movement. Move with your breath. And then lengthen the left arm. We're going to reach and pull. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull the arm down nice and slow. So really warming up the muscles of the arm and the shoulder. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull. Maybe even adding that gentle pause at the end of the exhale. Mindful for not crunching down into the right side and keeping the hips nice and stable. And then all the way up with the inhale, both arms up. Exhale over to the other side. Land and really push that right hip down into the ground. Lengthen right side. Breathe into the rib cage as if you're gently pushing your breath between each rib. And then finding your oblique with your fingertips right between the rib cage and the hip. Little tiny tail. Inhale as you're open. Exhale as you bring your right shoulder towards the left knee. Little small movement. Trying to find the oblique muscle. And then bring it back. Reach the right arm up with the inhale. Exhale, pull down. So really finding the muscles of the arm and shoulder. Watch for tension in the neck. Hold your head in a comfortable position. And then inhale as you rise, both arms up. Slow circles as you bring the wrists back down. And check in on how you feel. So nice tall spine, maybe even close the eyes and center. Notice what is present in the mind. Find the breath. index finger and thumbs to touch on both hands, leaving the palms facing up. Try to hold this lightly and bring all of your focus to the tip of the finger and thumb. Still continuing that nice, long, slow breath. See how long you can keep your focus right at the tip of finger and thumb. Know every time a thought draws you away, just gently touch the finger and thumb in a little circle. Return to sensation right there. And then slowly make your way over to a tabletop position, moving and breathing here in whichever shape, fashion you like. We're going to inhale in a tabletop, exhale towards a child's toes can be tucked, hands can be wide. Start to make choices for practice and change it up based on how your body is feeling. Maybe you sway the hips side to side. Maybe you take more spinal movements and work through the spine. Think about adding that gentle pause at the end of the exhale, as if letting out all excess energy and giving your body a little space without excess energy. Inhale deep. Exhale, let everything out. And then give your body a gentle pause. And you can stay with this simple movement, or if you like, you can begin to build upon it, coming forward to tabletop, exhaling to a down dog shape. Inhaling back to tabletop and exhaling towards a child's. And then come on up to a tabletop and slowly down to the stomach, crocodile pose. One hand on top of the other, forehead down, shimmy the hips. Find yourself in this pose and see if you can soften the shoulders and neck a little more. And notice what comes up. In this pose, we're going to move and breathe again. So hands wherever it's comfortable to balance. We're going to inhale, lift the shoulders, and exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Begin to fire up all the muscles of the backs of the legs, the glutes, the mid-back, the low back. Maybe even beginning to lift the toes. Thinking about lifting and getting longer in the spine rather than archier. And then bring it up to a position you can comfortably hold. Hands can remain down, or you can bring your arms up. We're going to think about the opposite space than the oblique. So right between the rib cage on the hip, on the back, we're going to take right arm towards right hip. Inhale back to center and left arm towards left hip. So you can do this arms up, arms down, feet up, feet down. Find the position that you can do this with strength. Build your strength and work with the breath. And then bring it back down to crocodile. This time really shimmy the hips. Loosen, soften, let go. Slowly bring it back to a child's pose. Little reset, thinking about space across the lower back. And then back to a tabletop. Set up nice and strong in your tabletop, so lifting up out of the ground with the muscles of the chest. Take the right leg back even with the hip. Hold it here. Left arm up, so watch for sinking into this right shoulder. Pull up with the muscles of the chest. Breathe and balance. Whew. You want the challenge, bring the left arm even with the shoulder and draw the right foot towards the right wrist. Breathe and balance. Bring the left hand down, return the left foot even with the hip, bend the knee, and press the heel up. Little pulses, nice and slow. So watch for bowing in the back. Engage the glute and the leg, nice and slow. Lower the right toes and press through the heel, either little static pulses, static hold, or little pulses. And then return the right knee, take a little reset. And then left leg out, long and strong, lifting up, really engaging chest, right arm up. Breathe and balance. Challenge, right arm even with the shoulder, left foot comes towards left wrist. And lower the right hand, left leg even with the hip, bend the knee, press the heel up to the ceiling, nice and slow. And then lower the toes and press through the heel. Lower the left knee and then tuck the toes, down dog. Find your down dog. Warm up the shape in whichever way feels right for you. And then find the stillness of down dog and connect your head below your heart. As if you're letting anything you no longer need in your head to fall through the crown of your head. Bend in the knees slightly. We're going to keep the hips exactly where they are and take the right leg up. Engage the right leg. As if you're pressing through the leg, trying to keep hips and shoulders where they were. Hold strong, lifting up out of the ground. Bend the knee and step through low lunge and lower the back knee. So you might want to grab your blocks. We're going to lower the back knee. Watch for this back knee. So you don't want to be hurting the knee. If you need to place something underneath it, go ahead. We're gonna move back and forth here. So sending the hips back towards the heel and then forward, nice and slow. Move with the breath. Maybe you start to peel the toes up on the left foot. On the right foot. So feel what is present right across the front of this left hip. And then sinking the hips back, maybe moving your blocks back a little, just to give you something to rest on so you can get your spine a little longer. We're gonna place the heel down, maybe wiggle it around, find the back of the right leg. You can press the toes away from you, or you can pull toes back towards the shin. Feel which one feels like you connect with the back of the leg. You can hold this static, or you can take little movements with the foot, feeling the back of the leg, nice and slow. If this is not connecting, if you're super flexible and not feeling this, push into the heel as if you're trying to push it away from you and activate the muscles, or pull the heel back towards the hip. So activating the muscles without letting the foot move. And then slowly returning to the right foot, moving your blocks, tucking the toes and lifting up, low lunge. From here, taking an inhale forward and an exhale back. Sending that right leg towards straight again, really warming up, moving slow through the legs. See if you can start to pull from the left cuff as you pull backwards, really opening up that back leg. And frame out the front foot, send the right foot back to meet the left and straight to down dog. Notice left and right sides. Keeping the chest very strong, shoulders where they are, a little bend in the knees. Keep the hips where they are and send the left leg up long. Engage and lift that leg out of the ground. Breathe. And then bend the knees, step through low lunge and lower the right knee. Left and right challenge all the time. Lower the back knee. And then little movements forward, sinking in, feeling right front hip, and then feeling left back leg. So moving through. You may need to put something in under the knee. You can also use the blocks to really lift up off the knee. Moving with the breath, maybe gentle pauses. And then sink the hips back, maybe adjusting the blocks so the spine can be a little taller. Find the place where you can find the back of the left leg. And then little movements or keeping it static, long static hold stretch. Thinking about keeping this stretch in the back of the left leg, rather than pulling it into the lower back. So when we bring our head down towards our knee, we start to feel the lower leg a lot more, the back of the leg a lot more, but we can also pull it into the back. So we really want to think about the back of the leg and not in the back, especially not in the sacrum area. And then come on forward to a low lunge, tucking the toes, lifting that back knee, inhaling forward and exhaling, sending left leg towards straight. Nice and slow, maybe remembering that gentle pause at the end of the exhale. So if you're inhaling fresh, nice and slow and deep, and exhaling, emptying the lungs, emptying energy, taking a break. Releasing stagnant energy, stagnant breath from the body, nice and slow. And then framing out the front foot, send left foot to meet right, back to down dog. Find the position in down dog that you can hold steady. So maybe bringing the feet a little bit closer in, a little bit less stress on the shoulders. And then we're going to bend the feet, bend the knees, and we're going to work through the back of the legs. So we're going to slowly send one heel at a time towards the ground. Nice and slow, working through the backs of the legs. Inhale as you lift both heels. Exhale as you slowly pull one down and bend the other knee. Lift both heels, bend both knees, and either float towards your hands or step up so feet are underneath hips. Lunge. You may want to grab a block for your fourth fold so you can hold on and think about the legs. Land your feet on the ground, and then we're going to move through our feet. So bend the knees and take the weight over to each edge of the feet. So bending the knees, rolling the weight around the feet. Engaged legs. Lifting the toes, feeling the muscles of the feet. And then up onto the balls of the feet. So you can lift your heels just a teeny bit, or you can lift all the way up and sink the hips a little. Nice and slow, one at a time or both feet. See where you're at. As you're doing this, try to connect to the backs of the legs as if you're pulling from the calf muscle, pulling your heel down. Watch for tension in the neck. Lower the heels and take a big deep breath in as we rise up, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart, and connect with the breath. Inhale up. Exhale, prayer to heart. Bring your prayer to heart and hold. Maybe even closing your eyes and getting to know all the little micro adjustments that happen as you stand on your own 2 feet. Open the eyes if you close them. We're going to send our left foot back just a small step, so not a full lunge. So landing so that both feet can be on the ground. We're going to move with our breath here, and we're going to make it a little complicated so that our head stays in the game. Bringing our hands out even with our shoulders. We're going to inhale. This is balancing, so you really got to focus. Inhale, lift both heels. Exhale, bend the knees, lower the hips. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower both heels. So inhale, lift. Exhale, lower the hips, bend the knees. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower the heels. You can do this without lifting and lowering the heels too much. But if you want to work your balance, you're going to lift up as high as you can, lower the hips. As you get the hang of this, maybe beginning to sweep the torso down. Then both knees, sink the hips, sweep down. Trying to keep that little gentle pause at the end of the exhale. Lower both feet, arms even with their shoulders. We're going to stay in this position. So check your base, make sure your base is comfortable. You may need to step your foot out a little wider. Just notice where you are comfortable. We're going to inhale, exhale, draw left arm back and open. Inhale as you pull, exhale, inhale as you push your left arm forward, exhale as you pull. Start to really open up that left shoulder. Little squeeze of the oblique. And then bring it back to center. Arms down, soft shoulders, and step forward. And back to our breath. Inhale up. Exhale, purr to heart. And bring your purr down to your heart and notice left and right sides. Notice where you might be feeling any energy in different parts of your legs, any muscle strain, any tiredness, maybe a little tingling and opening. And then sending the right leg a little bit back, not a full high lunge. Landing both feet on the ground, so nice and comfortable in your base. If you have tight hips, heels, or knees, experiment with moving this right leg a little wider than your hips. It may help. So find the comfortable base, arms to shoulders. Inhale, lift heels. Exhale, lower knees. Inhale, lift torso. Exhale, send the heels back down. Find your balance. Find all the muscles in the legs. The more that you engage your legs, the more beneficial, the easier to balance. And maybe starting to bring the torso into the movement. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend and lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower the heels. If you're using your arms and your torso, think about your arms really pushing out any stagnant, no longer needed energy. And then lower both heels. Check your base for comfort. Right arm long. At the inhale, exhale, pull it back, open up, little twist. Inhale long, exhale, pull open. Remove hands back, hands to hips, shoulders soft, step forward. Mountain pose, and reconnect with our breath. Inhale up, exhale, heart to heart. This time, bring our prayer down to the center of our forehead and feel the connection of the thumbs or the base of the hand to the center of the forehead. Notice what happens in the rest of the body. Try to soften your base, soften your feet, and do gripping of the toes around the knees, especially around the lower back and shoulders. Perhaps even closing your eyes and really bringing all of your focus to right here in the center of the forehead. See how long you can hold your focus here without your thoughts pulling you away. And then slowly pull your prayer down through the heart and forward fold all the way. Touch the ground and step back. High plank and either lower all the way down to child's pose or hold a high plank for a little while. Lifting up out of the ground with the muscles of the chest. And then find a child's pose and reset. And if child's pose is not your perfect reset pose and crocodile pose is, go ahead and find a reset pose that works for you. So a surrender pose, a letting go. And then slowly come back up to tabletop. Keeping your blocks handy, we're going to move into two stand and crow. So, beginning in a tabletop position, we're just going to make sure our hips are nice and open. So, right knee up, send the heel to the ceiling. Keeping a strong base, you're not like sinking into the shoulders. We're going to bring that right knee around in a big circle as if finding all of the muscles that make the hip move. Nice and slow. And then bring the right knee to hover just next to the left. Engage the entire leg and pull the knee up to the right and out. Nice and slow. Trying to find the muscles of the hip and trying to keep the entire right leg engaged. Watch for sinking in the shoulders, buckling in the back. And then right leg down, reset. Left leg up. And we're going to take big, slow circles with this knee. So really thinking about opening the hip, moving in all the directions that the hip can move in with the left leg engaged. And then bring the left knee to hover next to the right, engaging the left leg, lifting left knee open to the left, and then back to the right knee. I think this is called fire hydrant pose for obvious reasons. And then bring that down. We're going to tuck the toes and send ourselves back to down dog. This time when we bend the knees, we're going to step forward to Malasana feet. So right foot just outside of right hand, left foot just outside of left hand. Grab your block to make this easier and take your hips side to side to warm up the hips before coming all the way down to a yogi squat. So when you get all the way down to a yogi squat, try not to just hang out in the joints. Find that place where you can engage the legs and hold some strength. So rather than falling into the joints, find the place you can engage. And if you're super not strong and open, just rest your hips on your block and practice opening by holding another block in front of you. Whew. And pressing your legs into your arms, arms into your legs. So now you're engaging and keeping your spine long and taking some of the pressure out of your legs and hips. So lots of options. You want to hold. You're going to try and hold nice and high, nice and strong. Move through the feet, nice and slow. You can take movements with the hips and the feet, so long as you're paying attention to keeping engaged. And then, if you would like to work on crow, you're gonna I need to move backwards so you can see. You're gonna bring your hands down about shoulder width. You're gonna try and bring your knees up as high on the back of your arms as possible. So, resting them here, pulling from the chest. So people often think that this is all about arm strength. So think about that cat-cow shape. So the cat shape, pulling your chest in. The strength comes from inside in the chest, and your balance comes from here too. Bring your hands onto the ground. Start to bring the weight over your arms. So bring the weight over your arms and pull from the chest. And maybe you can start to bring a toe up at a time. Playing or just holding a Malasana, thinking about a long spine. And then wherever you're at, we're going to move into toe stand play, or come on down to a child's pose if you're already ready to take a reset. Get your block in front of you, come on to your toes. So bring your knees in even with your hips and lift up. Try not to sink your hips onto your heels. Holding onto the block can help you for balance. Nice and strong. Start to lift up through the spine, maybe bring your shoulders even. Squeezing the muscles of the legs more and more so you can start to really engage the legs and lift the hips up even higher. And when you're done playing, come on down. And let's wiggle out those feet because we worked them hard. So take the feet, wiggle them side to side, loosen the feet. And then find comfortable position so that we can push your toes far, far away and then pull them back. Just working through the muscles of the feet. Nice and slow. Bring your knees to a bend, spine long. Pull the toes towards the shins. See if you can find the muscles on the outer edges of your legs. And then we're going to pull our toes outside and inside. So now we're trying to locate the muscles of the outer legs, outer feet, inner legs, and inner feet. These are the ones that help us when we slip on the ice to make them strong. And then let that go, and we're going to make our way all the way down to our backs. So come on down to your back. Land on your back and take a second to find your hips on the ground, bring your knees in. And then take your feet to the ceiling in just a manner that is comfortable. So maybe the legs are a little bent. We just want our feet up above our heart. Trying to get the blood flow to come on back down. You can hold your legs loose. You can take slow ankle circles. You can pedal the feet, just doing what feels right in your own legs and feet. Trying to let your shoulders melt more and more into the ground with every breath. And then we're going to do what Kaylee calls tantrum pose. So the whole idea of this is to get that cellular reset, the somatic reset. So no more muscle gripping, everything soft and loose as if it's jelly wobbling in a bowl. We're going to kick our feet. So just as if we're kicking them nice and light, just as if a little child were throwing a tantrum. So what is a tantrum? Tantrum is overwhelming energy in a child that they're trying to loosen and reset. They're just getting it out. So go back to that idea of letting it go. And then maybe you can even bring the arms into it and really make it a full body reset pose. Letting go. What can you let out? And then take a deep breath in, and when you land on the ground, let it just land naturally and notice where the body lands. Notice if feet and knees are not even. So our body has all these different holding patterns, and they're not even in our body. And sometimes just bringing intentional awareness to these little holding patterns within our body can help our brain reset it subconsciously. So checking in, feeling left and right sides from the toes all the way up to the shoulders and down to the fingertips. As you feel your body land more and more on the ground, where do you feel any places that are holding and pulling and still gripping? Do you need to take a little shuffle of the head and let the muscles of the neck soften? You need to wiggle the hands and toes. Make sure the feet are starting to soften and the hands are starting to soften. Maybe your hips and your lower back are gripping, and maybe they need a side sway. A little reset. And then guess what? All of the hard work is done. Make a choice for where you would like to be for your resting pose. So grab your plops, your blankets, your socks, whatever you need, and find the position where you can most let go. Start to really soften the feet. Really soften the hands. Soften the muscles of the face. Soften even more around the eyes. Soften around the ears, particularly around the jaw, and then down even in underneath the lower jaw. Soften across the front of the chest, the front of the shoulders. And then with each breath, begin to let go of control of the breath. Any gripping around the rib cage, any gripping around the upper muscles of the breath in the chest. Begin to imagine your breath flowing in and flowing out without control, just like the waves of the ocean, rolling in and rolling out. And then take a moment to notice what the thoughts are doing. Knowing that it's a thought's jobs to fire and run about and crash around, just like firing neurons in the brain. And then begin to walk your attention a little bit deeper. Slowly, as if walking very slowly away from the thoughts and towards the heart center, metaphysical heart center. So the soul center. Traditionally, this is thought to be right in the center of the chest. However, if you feel some other place where you feel you can connect to your soul, your spirit center, find that place. As if slowly walking away from the layer of the mind towards your spirit. And I'm reading from the Radiant Sutras today. This was written in a language that was very poetic and meant to be heard more with the heart than with the cognitive head. When you close your eyes, attention turns towards the inner glow. The heart sees by its own light, pulsing with subtle flame. In your forehead is a single eye. Here streams of living electricity flow together. The body of substance and the body of light fused into one. Above your head is a star is shining, the soul luminous in its own realm. Life arises from itself in a swirling motion of flame. Being becomes body. In meditation, adore the subtle fire in heart, head, and above. Dissolve into radiance. As you melt further and further into your resting pose, whenever you notice the mind doing what it does and pulling your attention away, gently return to that place we touched in practice, the center of the forehead. Bring all your awareness to sensation here. And then draw the awareness to the center of the brain. And then slowly towards spirit center, heart center. Not worrying about how many times you have to repeat the process. Not worrying about getting it perfect, but just attempting the practice gently over and over again with patience and kindness and understanding for yourself. If you're in a wonderful place in your resting pose, please feel free to take longer. If you need to finish up at 60 minutes, we're going to move on to a little bit of a breath practice, thinking about connecting ourselves. So rather than staying in our head, we're going to think about connecting all the parts of ourselves, just with a little imaginative breath, intentional breath practice. So think about bringing some movement to your hands and then place any hand on your lower stomach. Connect with feeling the warmth of your lower stomach, maybe even on a hip. Think about your base. Think about grounding the earth, being connected to a grounding and earthy sensation. Maybe if you're laying on your back, even imagining this hand pulling you down to the ground, supporting you and grounding you. And then bring the other hand to your emotional center. So right that solar plexus area, right underneath the rib cage. And then we're going to think about breathing in from the hand on the top all the way down to the hand on the bottom, and then all the way back, as if this is a freely moving, easy connection between our base and our emotional center. So if you have trouble thinking about and connecting with the teachings of the chakra, think about the fact that we just get butterflies in the stomach. This is our emotional kind of energetic center. This is typically where we feel a lot of our emotions. So think about connecting your emotional center to a grounding sensation. You can also just think about bringing the yellow from your hand on top all the way down to the red, lava, earthy color on the hand on the bottom. And then back, connecting. And then taking the hand from our emotional center, bring it up to our hand right on the center of our chest. And in the teachings, the center of our chest is our unconditional love center, our connection to our bliss within, so our bliss layer within, as well as our bliss without, so our connection center to something higher than ourselves. Think about connecting from the hand on top with your breath all the way to your base. So a clear connection between your spirit and being grounded. And then take that hand that's on your chest and place it gently on your throat. If this is not comfortable for you, place it to the side of your throat if you feel this is too constricting, or hover it just above. So think about your throat. Think about things left unsaid that you've regretted. Think about things that you've said that you've regretted. Rather than thinking about memories, just think about them as things stuck in your throat. And then think about speaking your truth. Being unafraid to speak your truth. Your truth are things that you say and think that line up with your spirit center. And then think about connecting your truth to a grounding and earthy sensation, feeling stronger and more free to speak your truth. And then finally bringing your hand to the forehead, the hand on top to the forehead. And rather than thinking about all the thoughts that swirl in the mind, thinking about our intuition center, the center of our mind. The part that when we're connected to, we feel more at ease, more at peace, less disturbed by the thoughts, that center. And then think about a clear pathway from this center to a grounding sensation in our base. And then slowly removing both hands and making your way to a fetal position in whatever side is calling to you, curling up in a ball. And imagining all of these energetic centers moving freely, connected. And then think about a softening at the crown of the head. Imagine being wrapped in a bubble of protection right now that contains precisely what you need, and drawing in from the crown of the head. Trying not to cognitively think of what that might be. Just taking a few breaths to draw in and recharge through this now freely moving energetic channel. And then when you're ready, make your way up to a seated position and bringing your hands of prayer at heart space. Soften the eyes closed if that's comfortable for you, and really think about the sensations of your fingertips touching and your hands of prayer, and your prayer touching your chest center. See how much focus you can bring to the sensations, and rather than the rumblings of the mind. May we find many moments to connect to our own light within, so that we can allow it to shine and guide us through our day. And the light within me sees and honors the light within you. Thank you for joining us.